Welcome to FitBody Lifestyle, the show where we dive deep into the world of fitness, health, business, relationships, and the art of living a balanced life. I'm Jami.
And I'm Greg, and we're here to give you the benefit of our experiences in the fitness and bodybuilding industry, the corporate world, running a business, personal development, and building healthy relationships.
Whether you're sweating it out in the gym, hustling in your business, or seeking balance in your everyday life, you're in the right place.
So lace up those sneakers and grab that water bottle, and let's get ready to transform our minds, our bodies, and our lives. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Fusion Hack with our FitBody Lifestyle crew of me, Papa Bear, and Mama Bear, Jami D, love of my life. Hi, babe.
Hi, babe. I like your intro today.
Oh, I'm glad. Did you sense the enthusiasm?
So much enthusiasm.
Because I'm so enthusiastic about this topic that we're going to do, which is, now we're just going to give you three. There may be others, but we are going to focus. There are others. They're not maybe. There are others. But we want to talk about three kind of what we would call gym essentials to bring with you when you're going to the gym. These are things to set yourself up for success. Your gym may already have them, so you may not need to bring them to the gym. But if they don't have it, then these are things that you can absolutely bring with you or do at home before you go to the gym if that's an option for you as well.
Right. They're three of our favorites.
Yeah, three of our favorites. Maybe that's what we should title this, is our three favorite gym essentials. So the first thing is wrist straps and straps, or wrist straps or straps. I'm kind of putting probably that's number three on the other two if we talk about what you're doing. But I definitely go to the gym with wrist straps and straps for any pull movement that you're doing, and even if you're doing legs and you're using dumbbells, having wrist straps and straps or straps can be. Your grip is going to give out long before the muscle that you're working. And so these things are just really helpful to make sure that you're getting that exhaustion and that complete work on that body part.
Right. I mean, for me, that's the number one that I bring with me because that's not something you're typically going to find at your gym. So having those with you is really important. And you know, if you haven't used wrist wraps before, you may want to try some different ones. There are different options available. I mean, there's a plain just strap that just wraps around and it's just got the one strap that you're going to wrap around the bar. There's also, there's the one that I like has like a little, piece of plastic that's
like a dowel
in it so that it just makes it a little easier to grab and wrap. So I really like that one. That's the one I prefer. I know a lot of people like the VersaGrips, which are it's more like a piece of plastic that's so it's a little more formed, and so some people find that a little bit easier to wrap around than the strap itself. And then they also have some that have hooks that are more like a piece of metal that's formed in a hook. So you can kind of play around with it, see what works well for you. I think when you first start using it, it can feel a little bit awkward getting it just in place and strapped in correctly. So be patient with yourself as you're implementing it if it's not something you've done before. But I use them primarily on back and leg days where I'm doing heavier lifts, anything where you're pulling, so that you're, being careful not to, cause any issues with the wrist. Mm-hmm. And like Papa Bear says, forearm's going to give out way quicker than, that's much smaller, less powerful muscle than is your back or certainly your legs if you're doing some sort of deadlift or something like that. So, you're going to get so much more out of it utilizing this tool.
And rest assured, there's probably some people out there listening and thinking, well, yeah, but I don't use those. I really want to work my grip. That's fine. These are not absolutes. They're not required. I do think and we titled this as essentials. I would say as essential because, and I've said this before, the rule of gunfights, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And even if you don't use it on the first three sets, but on that fourth set, man, you're really pushing, your grip's starting to give out. How much less are you going to work that muscle if you don't have that wrist strap or strap to use? So I'm not saying you have to use it for every set. I'm not saying that you have to use it at all if grip strength is something that you're working on. In fact,
but there are other ways to work your grip strength
there are other ways
and
to
you are still working the grip strength as well. It doesn't take that completely out.
That's true. You're still gripping the bar. So these are just things that I'm thinking particularly of lower body movements where, like, we have a number of athletes doing RDLs, Romanian deadlifts, or other Bulgarian deadlifts with dumbbells, and they're gripping these dumbbells so tight, and they're reporting tension in their traps because they're gripping the bar so tight that because it's heavy. And I think about when you are distracted from what you should be focusing on in your mind-muscle connection because you're thinking about your traps being sore or your grip being sore, and if your grip is fading and you're trying to work your glutes, it's taking you away from that mind-muscle connection and that real focus on the body part that you're working on.
Yep. All right.
Second, bands. I love to have bands. So Jami and I will joke is my prep before a workout consists of a lot of band work and, well, first with rolling.
Well, the joke is that it takes you longer to get prepped than it does to work out. You missed that part.
It does. So that is the joke. I guess I am the joke in that.
No, you're not the joke. You're actually doing the right things to make sure you're protecting yourself because you don't want to hurt yourself.
Well, I've had a lot of surgeries and a lot of injuries over the years, and so that has taught me that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And so I invest a lot in that prep work. And I just talked about bands, but I'm going to put that on number 3, and I'm going to go to number 2, which is foam rolling, because that's the progression I do. I always roll first before I do the bands.
No, I was actually thinking you'd go foam rolling, bands, and then the grips, but we're doing it in reverse. That's okay.
I screwed up. Sorry.
That's okay.
That's why I needed you to intro this episode.
Well, let's finish with the bands, and then we'll come, since we're going we're going backwards.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So the bands, and I'm going to advocate for a particular set of bands, which is from a company called Crossover Symmetry. I discovered this years ago when I was working through some shoulder rehab, and it's not just the bands that they provide; it's the progression of movements that they give you to really warm up your shoulder capsule. And I do this for any upper body day. I do the bands. And I'm talking about the bands with the handles on them, but you can also bring regular bands, the regular rubber bands, which you can use for both warm up and you can use to add resistance during your weight training as well. Having those bands really gives you the ability. Most gyms have them available, but if they don't, I bring my own. I mean, I bring the Crossover Symmetry bands with me to every workout because I want to have them there. But I go through this progression of shoulder activation movements to really not just warm up my shoulder, my primary, the deltoid, but I do it to warm up all those supporting muscle groups that are part of that shoulder capsule. With the legs, using a hip circle or hip band to really warm up your hip muscles and all the supporting groups. So it's not just the glute and the quad muscles, but it's all those little teeny supporting muscles that are in there, piriformis, your psoas, your hip flexors. Those are the things that you want, QL. Those are the things that you want to warm up and get activated. And by activated, I mean that muscle knows, hey, you're about to work me because you
got
prepped
blood
me.
flow, it's warm and things like that. Yeah, you don't want to just jump into your workout cold, because that's where injuries happen. So this is a process of getting warmed up, getting blood flow to the region, and getting that muscle ready and stimulated. So once you start doing the heavier loads, you're not as likely to cause injury. So
yeah, and the way I think about it is my mind to that particular muscle that I'm working is like a road, and while there's debris on that road, I need to clear that road out of that debris and really reestablish that neural pathway between my mind and that muscle. And by doing that activation movement, then that's how I'm able to get that better contraction, better mind-muscle connection during my workout.
yes.
Okay, third thing.
So the third thing, as you said, is foam rolling, which we're both huge fans of. And, I've been doing even more foam rolling. Like, it's when you start having some pain in some certain areas, that's where you remember. And if you'll do it more regularly, the chances of having those types of pains and injuries and things like that are going to diminish greatly.
I'm a big fan of rolling before my exercise. I'm a big fan of rolling when I'm at home. Just to get, and I mean, it's so funny. We have rollers all around the house. We have a yoga wheel. We have a number of different what might be considered, bondage devices or torture devices, whatever you want to call them, because they look so draconian, but they're just there to help you roll out that myofascial tissue to help breed in that flexibility and that mobility movement. But the rolling, I'm a big fan of the rumble roller.
I was going to
the
say
original
the rumble
roller. I love that because the little teeth on it. Not everybody likes that. Some people prefer the more foamy foam rolls, the softer. At the end of the day,
and for different purposes.
For different purposes,
if you're doing a little bit of trigger point release, that's where the rumble roller is really helpful. And then I know you explained this a lot, but I think it's worth saying on here, there are two different densities to the rumble roller. So if it's something you're going to purchase, because I love the rumble roller, that's what we have. I mean, we do have different ones at home, but that's the one I usually use. But the one that's a little bit harder,
the black one,
to me is a little too intense personally. I like it's the blue one that's it's still quite intense, but not as
intense.
Yes. So I find that one a little bit more tolerable. I mean, obviously it's different for each person, but I think it's nice to kind of explore your options there. And, sometimes, maybe using the foam to start, get it warmed up, and then doing some trigger point with the rumble roller is really great too.
Or using a lacrosse ball.
Yes, and that's
or the
another
dimple ball. Yeah.
Yep, yep. So if it's an area that's a little bit harder to get to, I love the lacrosse ball. I know we're kind of going those three things, but this kind of falls in that same area. I like to put it in a long sock if I'm working on maybe some area, scapula area or something like that. Then I can control where it's moving if I want to lean up against the wall or lay on it. So there's a ton of different videos, YouTubes, things like that. If you're wanting to see how to properly foam roll. Those are all really helpful, but try different ones. Try doing the foam rolling before you train, doing it as a one-off, when you're sore. I really like to do it. My hamstrings were really tight this week. So, I've just been giving a little bit more attention. I'll be, at the end of the night, we're done and we'll watch a show. I'll just pull out the roller and work on, work on my hips, work on my hamstrings, whatever it is that's locked up at that time. We have it right there in the living room, so we can just grab it and work on that. So, I mean, you can obviously do that around your workouts and things like that, but you could also, find time elsewhere.
Mobility is so crucial to not just this lifestyle, not just success in the gym, but just your overall health. And so investing a little bit of time, so into that mobility training. So wrist wraps, bands, rollers. And by rollers, we're just including in lacrosse balls. Anything that you can use for myofascial release is there. I mean, some people go all in with bars and stuff. So it's whatever suits your fancy and whatever you can tolerate, but invest the time in the movement. The yoga wheels are great too. So for building flexibility and mobility, I think that covers it, right?
It does.
All right. So like, comment, subscribe, leave your reviews, and remember the 3 B's: be good to yourself,
be good to each other,
and be safe. Take care, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in to FitBody Lifestyle. We hope today's episode has left you feeling motivated and equipped to tackle your fitness goals, business challenges, and the daily dance of life. Remember to value progress over perfection. Life's tough enough alone. Find the chosen family around you to help you along the way.
If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite streaming platform. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at FitBody Fusion.